Alright, so we're back and we covered EQ in the last video, and today I want to go over compression, okay? So I'm gonna open the mixer, hit plus, add an effects channel. The master channel, as mentioned, is always the main channel where all the sounds, the whole song goes through. The effects channel, you can assign individual instruments to go to that effects channel, and it will get the same effects processed at the same time. So it's an easy way to tame a few different sounds with just one channel. Okay, so I have an effects channel. I'm going to go to kick. I'm going to go here to effects. It's on 0. I'm just going to put it on 1, and I'm going to close it out. Now before I do, 0 is the master and 1 is the effects channel. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that's highlighted. I'm going to hit add effect. I'm going to go up here. I have a compressor now. Nice. I just took the first compressor that I saw, and here you have your gain settings, which is pretty much volume. Here you have your ratio, where once you set a limit, anything that goes over that limit is going to be brought down based on your settings here. 1 to 1. If it goes over 1 decibel, you're going to bring it down 1 decibel. Sometimes it's all you need. Sometimes if it was really high in range dynamic, you can turn this up and really bring down the high points to meet the lower points kind of more in the middle, so that they sound a little bit more even and it's not so all over the place. That could be a problem when you're trying to mix the song if things are like dynamically, let's say, out of range, so to speak. Okay, so a very common thing used today, I know, like in hip hop and probably dance music, is 4 to 1, but it really is based on what you're doing. This can go on an individual sound, or this can go on an entire song and tame the vocals and everything to kind of squeeze it together a little bit better. Okay, here's your attack. Your attack tells the compressor that it wants to hit the initial sound, boom, head on as soon as it comes in, or it wants to let the initial sound pass, boom, and then start compressing and hold the rest of the sound from being so dynamic or so broad in range. Okay, so the compressor takes the top part and the bottom part, brings them closer together without losing its dynamic, unless you really squeeze the life out of it, and makes it sound more smooth or even. Okay, the release says, okay, so you attacked my sound and you crushed or you squeezed this little section. Now I want you to let go of that sound at this point, so that the sound can continue to play the way it did before, or I want you to release the sound slowly so the compression stays engaged with the sound and will smoothen out the entire sound. Something like a kick drum, boom, one sound, usually just want to tame the initial point of that, and then you want to let the release happen fairly quickly, because you're not going to be using it anymore, because the rest of the drum sound was just air, boom, boom, right? So you want to give that a fast release. Your threshold says, okay, compressor, anything that goes over this volume level for me is where I want you to start compressing. Let it go to about this point and then stop it. Anything over that, you're going to kick in that ratio that's going to bring it down. You're going to kick in that attack that's going to squash that sound for that split millisecond, and then you're going to release that attack at this point, right? So the threshold is kind of the master here. It goes, this is where it all begins. Okay, I want the compression to start here, and the knee tells the threshold how fast to work. Okay, so the threshold could kind of fade in a way, but it's so quick you can't really hear it as much by ear unless you're really fine-tuned and well rehearsed in that area. Um, but I usually just, well, in Logic here, I usually just let it go all the way, boom, and let it start immediately. So again, here, if I had it here in Logic, it would be no compression. As I turn that up, it starts to affect the sound. Okay, I would start with my attack and my release down. Depending on what I was doing, I would have this set to 4 to 1. This is my ratio, or 2 to 1, or 1 to 1, or 12 to 1, right? So let's see, gain, that's the makeup, makeup gain. Ratio, that's the 2 to 1, 4 to 1. Anything that goes over the threshold is going to be dropped down 4 decibels for every 1 decibel that it goes over. Or maybe not so much, maybe just 2 to 1, right? And then my attack is here, and it's going to say, okay, we've gotten to the threshold, and here it comes, and I'm going to, boom, I'm going to hit the initial punch of that kick drum. And the quicker it is in this setting, the better for something like a kick drum. Now this is like milliseconds, so sometimes you can even catch the initial punch of a kick drum around here, because a wave sound shape is little at the very beginning, and then it gradually grows up and then gets smaller. And I can show you what I mean if I bring up this box. Here's a wave sound. You can't see at the beginning here, but the beginning is like the end. You see how this fades out? Well, it starts like this at the beginning a little bit, and then it gradually grows and gets bigger into this sound, and it plays out. Usually you don't realize it, but there is a tail kind of at the beginning. Okay, so I can use 5 or 10 sometimes, which is a little bit slower, but still in milliseconds, and it will still catch the initial punch of that kick drum. And then the release will say, hey, okay, that's enough. I want you to let it go at this point really quickly. And I'll show you what that is on this channel for a second. So let me push play in my Logic. I have a drum pulled up for you. Okay, so let's turn the threshold off. This is the input gain. This is the output gain. This is how loud the sound comes into the compressor and how loud it leaves the compressor. I'm in the red already. I don't like that, okay? But we're gonna tame that. Okay, I could lower it down a little bit more here, but let's see if we can tame that. If that happens to me, normally I will start off by lowering the input. I don't like to mess with the output gain unless I really have to. Okay, so I brought down the input, it tamed my output. Now, let's see when we're going to tell the compressor to start working. Look at my needle. Usually I like to get around 5, but more than looking at the numbers, I like to use my ears and see kind of where I'm starting to hear the beat or the sound get tamed. It's not that dynamic of a sound, so I'm going to just make it go 2 to 1. So every decibel over my threshold is going to come down 2 decibels. Okay. Then I'm going to set my attack. Let me see. Now, I don't know if you can hear what I can hear. A little difference in the tone of the kick drum. Okay, this is really fast, and in this setting, this is where I'm cutting the sound, and this is where I'm letting the sound through. Listen. That's more like the original sound. This is being cut off a little bit. It's attacking the initial punch of that kick drum. Releasing this allows it to finish the way it started. Releasing this says hold on to the sound a little bit longer and let the compression work all the way through the sound. But if I turned it back this way, it would let the drum go quicker and it'll get back to its original sound. Look at this needle, okay? Look how quickly it jumps back to 0. Now look at it. Slow. Okay? If I got rid of a couple of these, you would see better. Look at the needle. Quick release, slow release. Okay? And let's hear the attack again. That's more of the original sound because it's attacking much later and softer. Or tame that sound to shape it the way that I want it. Okay, so you have the same features on both of these compressors. It's just this one, you get to see some visuals and that's cute, but mainly you want to get to use your ears, and your ears will tell you what's right. If it sounds good, leave it. All right, but if you're getting that thumping sound, check your threshold. See if it's set too high. If you're getting that little breathing pump, boom, 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 try the attack settings a little bit. Play with that. If the sound becomes a little too dull, check the release. Maybe it's too slow. Maybe you need to speed up the release so that the sound can get back to its original sound. If it's sucking more life out of it, maybe you're dropping the dBs too low for your ratio. Maybe bring that down to 1:1 or 2:1, especially if you're putting this on like an overall mix. And if you feel that this makes your sound softer, you can use the gain and the compressor will still keep it below the decibel mark that will get you into the red, right? So a compressor is a very powerful tool and can be used for a lot of things. I hope you got a decent little overview of this. Please feel free to ask me questions, but I definitely recommend playing with it. Try with different sounds. It's nothing like taking your time with each one of these modules and understanding how they work. They're slightly different in different programs, but once you understand how to use one, you can use them all. Great. I hope you enjoyed that video. Enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.